I want to talk about driver briefings while we get the next person in. Who was some of the drivers that you've had over the years in Formula E that either like made you laugh or took things really seriously in those rooms, and drivers that you just enjoyed chatting to? Like talk me through those driver briefings and what they were kind of like during your time at Formula E.
I think, I said it. It's funny. I said it in Miami that um, the driver briefings was always my favorite part of the weekend, because it was when you got to see each other face to face, and the personalities came out, and you got to have really good conversations about things. And so for me, I felt like everybody had um, almost always good comments. And I felt like I could joke with almost everybody. The only guy I didn't feel like um I could joke with that much was Jev. I tried to joke with him, but he never ever, I don't know if
Right,
he never got my jokes, or if he was just too
right.
serious or grumpy or what have
Yeah.
you. But
I'm
yeah.
I'm just gonna butt in for a second because the first season that I did, which was season 8, I reckon I cracked all of the drivers apart from Jev until it was sold that year, and he had just had his baby,
Oh yeah.
and I think baby plus jet lag, I cracked him on day one in Seoul,
Mm.
and that was like
Yeah.
the only time. That was the only time. But yeah, I totally understand where you come from with Jeff.
Yeah, he was always pretty serious. But I mean, most everybody was, I mean, really, I felt like I always had a great relationship with drivers. I feel like I had an exceptional relationship with Sam Bird and Antonio. Those guys would always speak very well, and as a race director, you're looking for people to bounce ideas off, and to have conversations with, that get it right. They get the big picture. They're not just focused on their own team and their own
Yeah.
particular championship battle. They understand it for everyone, and so those guys in particular, I mean, hell, almost everybody. I mean, truth be told, almost all of the drivers were really, really useful in their comments. There were guys that, I went through 10 years of driver briefings and they never said two words.
Yeah.
And there were guys in certain meetings that, that were always, you could always count on Lucas DeGrassi saying something. He would always have a comment. Towards the end there in the last couple of years, Jack got to be a really good sounding board, as well as Nick. I always got really good comments from Evans, and uh, gosh, all the guys, like everybody. Like I said, I mean, it just was really, really great, in terms of relationships we had. I mean, it was one of, I'll do this because it's kind of weird, but I had this picture made because I really, really cherish it. This was at my this was at my retirement in Miami,
Yeah.
and I got a picture with Sam and Antonio, and I really, really, really cherish that picture because, I wasn't going to do it, and they were like, "No, no, come over here. We need a picture." They said they needed a picture with me, which I thought was hilarious, but it was really, really cool. But yeah, I don't know that. I never felt like the driver briefings were difficult. I always enjoyed them, and I always, and it got to the point where we had the relationship with each other that a lot of the guys would say, "Hey, man, I'm not going to bring this up in the driver briefing, but I want to talk to you about it one on one." And then usually, whatever we talked about, we'd bring it up in the driver's briefing anyway, just out of respect to that driver for not trying to cause a problem. So, yeah, it's the part I miss the most for sure.
Yeah, talk to me about Sambo quickly before we get, because obviously it might be his last race that he had in London. Obviously, an amazing career all the way from season one to now. Like, just talk me through your times. You said you really enjoyed times. Is there any specific instances with Sam that you really enjoyed that you'd like to share with us?
It's funny. There was, and I wasn't really public about it at the time, but I dealt with some health issues, and I missed a race um in Brazil one year. And after the driver briefing, Sam came up to me, and was very, um, very emotional and very, very personal. Um, and just, in general, kind of came up to me and was like, "Hey, man, you don't have to tell me what's going on and whatever, but I just wanted to know that I wanted you to know that we're here and whatever you need, and if there's something, something you need or you just need somebody to talk to, he's like, I'm here." And even when he I can't remember the exact detail, but I think I even was it this year? No, last year. Yeah. Last year I missed a race again, and he called me up the Monday after the race and just wanted to check in and make sure everything was okay. And that's pretty cool. That's the kind of guy Sam is. And he yeah, he just always it was more than a race director driver relationship. It always made me feel, pretty good about the way he was and the way he approached things. So that meant a lot for him to kind of make that call and just check in. That was
Yeah.
cool.